Hello. Here we're going to look at some words that link phrases and ideas. These are although, even though, despite and in spite of. Here is Ahmed. Although he is rich, he is unhappy. We can change this sentence around to he is unhappy even though he is rich. Even though is slightly stronger in meaning than although. Although and even though link the two ideas of the sentence. One is positive and the other is negative. Let's look at some other ways of saying the same thing. Despite his wealth, he is unhappy. And another way, in spite of his wealth, he is unhappy. And we can change this sentence around if we want to. He is unhappy in spite of his wealth. Let's look a little more carefully at the structure of these sentences. Although and even though can go at the start or middle of the sentence. Which parts of speech follow? Although he is rich, he is the subject and is the verb. So we have a clause that follows. We need to remember that although and even though are followed by subject and verb. Is it the same for despite and in spite of? These linking words are followed by his wealth. Wealth is the noun for the adjective rich. So despite and in spite of are followed by a noun here, but they can also be followed by pronouns and gerunds. These are some simple sentences, so let's now take a look at although and despite in some of the essay writing that you do. Here is the conclusion for an advantages-disadvantages essay about living in rural areas. If you want, pause the video. In the sentence that uses although, we can see a positive idea first. People can live healthier and safer lives. And although links this to a negative idea. The people will have less work and fewer leisure opportunities. What part of speech are the words that follow although? If you remember before, we said it's a subject and a verb. And so here we have although they will have. Where in the sentence can we use although and even though? Here it's in the middle, and we said before that it can go at the start too. Let's see what this looks like. Although they will have less work and fewer leisure opportunities, people can live healthier and safer lives in rural areas. We can see that although works really well in this final paragraph. Let's look at another one. Here is the conclusion for an essay about students studying abroad. If you want, pause the video to read the paragraph. In the sentence that uses despite, we can see a negative idea first about the disadvantages, and then the writer gives the positive view that there are more advantages. What part of speech are the words that follow despite and in spite of? We said before, and you can see here, that after despite and in spite of, we have a noun, and sometimes it's a pronoun or a gerund. Where in the sentence can we use despite and in spite of? Again, we said before that we can use despite in the beginning, like here, and also in the middle. Let's see what this looks like. I believe there are more advantages of studying a language abroad despite these disadvantages. We can see that despite works really well in this final paragraph in both positions. That's all for the moment. By now you should know some more about how to use although, even though, despite and in spite of. Try to use them when you're writing your next essay.